So we got to get some early leans on these games. I haven't done a lick of research outside the eye test and what numbers and numerical data that I have dancing around in my pea-sized brain right now. So I'm not going to get like real nitty gritty with a lot of these. It's going to be more of a gut feel, and probably should really stick with that because those journaling hits. So let's start with the first one. Oregon, Michigan State. Will the Sparty Party really ramp up and thump the base there in the Big Ten tournament? Michigan State laying 4.5, over under at 143.5. What is your initial lean on Ducks and Spartans?
So my lean would be maybe, okay, so you could look at this two different ways, right? Like I keep fading Michigan State like a dummy down the stretch,
Yep.
and I keep losing. So I should just take Michigan State. It's Tom Izzo, it's March. His teams are always physical. They're always very well prepared, mentally tough. And we saw this matchup earlier in the regular season, and that's exactly what happened, right?
Yep.
They punked Oregon. They out-rebounded them by 15. They have the size here. But what worries me a little bit, I know they're well rested, but they haven't played a game since March 9th. Oregon just won. I kind of like the Ducks with the points, but I'm going to stay away because Michigan State probably wins by 10 plus. And I have the Ducks already along with UCLA. Small sprinkles to win the Big Ten tourney. So I'll be cheering for Dana and the boys tomorrow.
Yeah, I got Michigan State. I grabbed them at plus 230, I believe, is where I got them at BetMGM to cut down the nets in Indy. So I might as well stick to my guns here. They're going to win this game, and I think they're going to cover the 4.5. I think it's a small number. Honestly, thought it was going to put about 6.5. I remember they beat the Oregon Ducks earlier this season, 86-74. The team is shooting better from outside. Last I saw, they're shooting like over 32% over the last 30 days. Now, that's like light years better than what they have done the entire season. Oregon can rebound. Biddle's going to have himself a ball game in the post, but I think he is going to be mitigated, going to be thwarted in this game due to the size, defensive chops of Michigan State. So if Jace Richardson balls out, scores a minimum of 15 this game, I think Michigan State covers. So I'll drink a green beer. It's like St. Patrick's Day, I think. It's only appropriate. You got to be at Michigan State. So I will lay the chalk on the 4.5, and I kind of like the under there at 143.5. Let's go to Marquette and St. John's. We had a St. John's reporter for the New York Post on earlier in the show. He's on the Johnnies and trying to bury the bias. Speaking objectively, at plus 140 to cut down the nets inside MSG. So do I. They're laying 4.5, same number as the Spartans against Oregon. St. John's taking on Marquette, over under at 140.5. Side total. What's the play here?
Yeah, so this one I'm not going to like it, but I am going to bet it. I'm going to wait, see where it closes, but I'll be taking the Marquette Golden Eagles, unfortunately. I had them on senior day at the Pfizer Forum. They lost that game. They were favored in that game, though. Now they're catching points. There's a reason why they're catching 4.5. I mean, they lost in overtime 86-84, but they also lost earlier in the season at home, or on the road, 70-64. What scares me is the rebounding battle, right? Like St. John's is 11th in the entire country, averaging 36, or they have a 36.0 offensive rebounding rate, Marquette's outside the top 140, 144th, 26.8 is their offensive rebounding percentage. So I think they get beat up on the glass, but I'll take the points here with the Golden Eagles. Hard to beat a team 3 times. I at least think they keep this competitive. If we get to 5.5, it'll be an automatic bet, but I kind of like Marquette to keep it close.
I do too because they can defend.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid of cats, so I'm going to play same game parlay here. What I'll do is I'll take Marquette up to like plus 10.5. So I'll build in that 6-point cushion, and I'm going to take the total up to like 145.5, hit the under, and hopefully achieve like plus 105 as the juice there. It was a tale of 2 games, and they were very different in the regular season between these 2 teams. The first one was 70-64 St. John's. The second one was 86-84 in overtime. The Johnnies. I think it's going to be more the former than the latter. This is probably going to be a lower possession kind of game. Marquette's going to try to slow this thing down. St. John's does like to live in transition, but they're both excellent defensively. With this being a second game for St. John's, another game for Marquette in this particular exercise, I think a same game parlay is really the wise approach, but I agree. Marquette is the action you want to take if you're looking for a dog. On some of the Friday slates in those matchups. Let's go to the SEC. Ole Miss against the Auburn Tigers. Auburn opens minus 10.5 with an over-under of 154.5. You got to feed a dog another treat there, Horvey?
Oh, I got the Ole Miss, the Fighting Beard, 66-1 to win this thing. That's not going to happen because they're going to get blown out tomorrow. But I'm going to stay away from the game and cheer them on regardless. Auburn's already beat them twice this season by double digits. One of those games, they won by damn near 30 points. Auburn wants to say as a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They dropped their last 2 games. I think Bruce Pearl, if you asked me last week, I'd probably take the points here with Ole Miss. But after 2 back-to-back losses, I think he'll have his guys motivated to at least show well in the opener. So give me Auburn at 10.5 if I had to bet the game. But let's ride out those Ole Miss SEC tickets and pray that Chris Beard gets it done.
Look, here's how I'm going to play this. Same game parlay all diggity day long. I'll take Auburn down to like -5.5, and I'm going to take the total down about 7-8 points to like 147.5, 148.5, and hit the over. I feel really good about that, quite honestly, especially if I get that at low plus money. So that is going to be the best way for me to try to sledgehammer home a winner in Ole Miss and Auburn. Let's go to Duke, North Carolina. Cooper Flagg ain't going to play. Probably going to rest him for the rest of the ACC tournament. Carolina butts and backs against the wall. They gots to win this one to re-enter the at-large conversation and maybe springboard off the bubble into the field, given how weak the bubble is. It is every year. But Duke opened up as a 7.5-point favorite. It's now up to 8.5. Over-under 154.5. Are you afraid of laying the chalk with the Dukies with no flag?
I'm going to be opposite here, right? Like you could say great buy low spot for the Blue Devils, right? Still really talented team. Not only am I going to take the points with Carolina, I took a little Carolina to win the ACC tournament at 16-1, and I'm going to take some money line too. Hard to beat a team. No, I bet Carolina in both matchups. I've lost both bets. But I'm going to sprinkle a little money line on Mario's boys and hope for the best. Give me the Tar Heels with the points here, man.
Yeah, 2 outcomes in regular season, 87-70, 82-69. Both, of course, won by Duke. I'll take a same game parlay it again. I'll do Duke down to like -4.5. So slice that line in half, and I'll take the total down and hit the over. Probably take it down about 7, 8, and maybe as many as 10 points, whatever will get me at low plus money. That's how I love to build those same game parlays. Look, I'm not trying to get rich with 7, 8 stupid ass leggers. Yeah. I'm trying to do simple 2-leg bets because I'm a volume better and I want to accumulate wins in units. And I think that's a great way to approach it. I've had a lot of success doing that. You can always check the always free, transparent, and public spreadsheet, thegamingjuice.com if you don't believe me.